Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about paywall characters and uniforms because there is an inverse relationship between the number of paywall characters that we have in Marvel Future Fight, whether they are exchange subscription or bio subscription, and whether they have uniforms or not. And you know, we've talked about it a lot recently, where Captain America is getting his 9th or his 10th uniform, Iron Man got another uniform, and we talk about the fact that, you know, there's about 125 characters that have uniforms, at least one uniform in Marvel Future Fight, which leaves, you know, about 90 characters who don't have a single uniform. Yeah, that hurts, man. More than 40% of the roster is just left completely without a uniform. So yeah, I want to talk about that today. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Mark Gibson. He is a player. He is a data collector, data displayer, and he has a bunch of really great graphs and tables and just sort of like spreadsheets of data regarding Marvel Future Fight. And I actually consulted his data. He has mapped out all of the characters that have been added to Marvel Future Fight, the order in which they were added, the update in which they were added, when the update was in terms of the year. So I got all of this information from his spreadsheet, so I have to give a big thank you to him. This video would have taken me a lot longer to make if I didn't have Mark, if we didn't have Mark doing such amazing work. So thank you, Mark. And I actually might be wanting to make a video about another one of your pieces of information later. I know you hit me up about it. I didn't respond yet, but I plan to. Anyways, so we have currently about 30, I think 31, it's 31 paywall characters, but then you got a minus She-Hulk, Sister Grimm, and Singularity. But I'll explain why I counted She-Hulk, Singularity, and Sister Grimm. So whatever, we have 28 paywall characters, and you can easily find them by going over here to Daily Perks, going over here, and looking through this list of characters, which I'm going to be talking about, and then going over here and going through this list of characters. And it's important to also remember, when we're talking about this, that this theory that I have is going to become more relevant when you consider this was added to the game recently. So why do we have so many paywall characters with so few uniforms? So let's throw up the list of paywall characters now here, and I'm going to include She-Hulk, Sister Grimm, and Singularity at the beginning of this combination, this whatever list of characters, because they were originally intended to be like paywall characters. So whether they are paywall characters or not now doesn't really matter. That's why I also wanted to point this out at the beginning of the video. You might argue that these characters are now no longer paywall because you can get them for free. Sure, they're a lot harder to obtain than Singularity, Sister Grimm, and She-Hulk, but once upon a time, She-Hulk, Singularity, and Sister Grimm were extremely hard to get. They were paywall characters. And I know that they're now available in the support shop as well. I'm going to end up making a mistake on how I say support shop. I know they're also available here now. I believe She-Hulk is not available, but Sister Grimm and Singularity are. It's really weird. So yeah, they are, but she isn't. So yeah. But anyways, I want to use those three as the prime example. She-Hulk, Singularity, and Sister Grimm. What do they have in common? Well, they were introduced in the same update. They were the first attempt at sort of a paywall character. You could argue characters like Black Cat were original paywall characters way back when the game first started, and characters like Malekith, because they were only obtainable by purchasing biometric selectors. But She-Hulk, Singularity, and Sister Grimm, I think, were the first big attempt to monetize new characters that were coming to Marvel Future Fight. And they were introduced with a new game mode, so it was really a push. These characters were given their own game mode, like what we imagined for the Warriors of the Sky getting their own game mode. The A-Team, the A-Force, let's call them the A-Team. The A-Force got that. They got Battle World. And they were actually pretty good at Battle World. Sister Grimm and She-Hulk, not as much, but Singularity was amazing for Battle World. So it fit. And these characters were very strong. They brought along some very meta effects for their time. You know, Sister Grimm had clones, which was very, very rare. Singularity has immune to guard break as a passive, which is still rare. And she also has guard break immunity penetration on her third skill, which is sadly more common now, but at the time it was very, very rare. And then She-Hulk had the, of course, ultra rare leadership, increased damage against male heroes, against male enemies, whether they're heroes or villains. And to this day, it's the only leadership of its kind in the game. Now, what's the big difference between She-Hulk, Singularity, and Sister Grimm? Sister Grimm's gotten one uniform, which was done very soon after she came out, and it wasn't really, they didn't put that much effort into it, in my opinion. And then Singularity's gotten 0 uniforms, and Singularity's gotten 0 uniforms, and then She-Hulk has gotten 2 uniforms. Now ask yourself, why did She-Hulk get 2 uniforms where Sister Grimm got 1 and Singularity got 0? Because if you remember at the beginning, I said Singularity was actually the best character of the 3 when Battleworld came out. And there were players that were purchasing Singularity and keeping her at 3 stars for the 3-star Battleworld because she was literally unbeatable. But why now, 3-4 years into the future, why do we have 2 uniforms for She-Hulk and none for Singularity? Because more players have She-Hulk. This is my theory. I think that, and it makes sense with the information that I've gathered and also with some anecdotal evidence that I've gotten from outside sources, it makes sense that the number of players that have a character will influence whether a character gets a uniform in the future. Now, of course, this information can't be taken update to update because they have to put updates together, months in advance. So it's hard for us to conceptualize, but 6 months or a year down the road is when they started considering updates for the A-Force, and then they looked at the numbers and they were like, man, a lot of players have She-Hulk. Now, maybe they didn't anticipate that a lot of players were going to want She-Hulk for the leadership, but it turns out that her leadership was better than Singularity and better than Sister Grimm combined, because they've put so much more effort into her than they have into Singularity and Sister Grimm, and I think that this also cascades into pretty much every other character. Now, there are some notable exceptions to my theory here. We voted in Hyperion as the rework of the year, so he kind of had to get a uniform. But if you take a look at the uniform, they didn't do a very good job. I mean, the uniform itself might be cool, and maybe they spent a lot of time making this uniform visually, but there are very few skill changes between this. There's literally 1 skill change between this uniform and the base look for the character. So it wasn't really that much of a change. And then pretty much all of the other characters that have gotten uniforms, I guess that they're just more popular. On top of that, I have the more recent addition of Crystal Wall characters. I think Crystal Wall characters are, again, another way that Netmarble and the Marvel Future Fight devs have attempted to monetize the game, which is fine. But I think that they realized that they can make more money. Instead of introducing paywall characters, they can make more money by introducing Crystal Wall characters, which even free-to-plays can eventually save up and buy. And then from those metrics of popularity, they can then justify releasing uniforms for these characters. Because if you look at the number of paywall characters that have been introduced, like way back, okay? I'm not even talking like last year or the year before that, but like look at this, okay? Let's go back. Carnage, February 2016. Enchantress, December 2016. Ironheart, January 2017. So those 3 characters right there. Sure, Kid Kaiju got a uniform. Sure, Agent Venom got a uniform. Sure, Spider-Man 2099 got a uniform. So the next 3 paywalls after those 3, they all got uniforms. They have since gotten 1 uniform, which is a little bit suspect. Kid Kaiju, Agent Venom, and Spider-Man 2099. But if you take a look at those characters, I mean, Carnage is probably the most popular of those 6. But then, who's the second most popular? Probably Spider-Man 2099. Who's the third most popular? Probably Agent Venom. And then between Enchantress, Ironheart, and Kid Kaiju, it's honestly probably a toss-up. The only difference between those 3 characters, Enchantress, Ironheart, and Kid Kaiju, is that more players had to invest in Kid Kaiju for Alliance Battle Extreme, because he was the only, at the time, he was the best speed... Where the hell is he? At the time, he was the best speed hero. Yeah, once upon a time, Kid Kaiju was the best speed hero back in, what was this, April or March 2017. So, they looked at the numbers. Oh, wow, more players have purchased Kid Kaiju than Enchantress. Okay, let's give Kid Kaiju a uniform instead of Enchantress. Because they don't want to make uniforms for characters that players don't have. Because then the chances are you're not going to buy the uniform. So no one's getting Ironheart because she's just a 45% leadership. Not a very good character. Nobody purchased her when she came out. She wasn't very popular. Nobody's purchasing her now. So she's probably never going to get a uniform. She's had different looks in the comics, sure. She had that run, the Avengers run. I don't know if it's Avengers or New Ultimates or whatever it's called, with Amadeus Cho, and they both have new different looks with yellow and green and all these cool colors. We're not going to see uniforms for those characters. I mean, maybe Amadeus Cho, but he's free to play. But Ironheart, no, dream on. I'm betting we're never going to get a uniform for Ironheart. I'm betting we're never going to get a uniform for Enchantress because enough players just don't have her. Now, Enchantress is a little bit different because when she came out, she was unique. Her and Doctor Strange were the only characters that could influence the world boss. Back in the day, I know, it sounds crazy. And also, what's different about Enchantress is that now she might be a bit more popular because of her leadership. So she might actually see a resurgence in purchasing and in unlocking and ranking up, and that might lead the devs to, give her a uniform. But a lot of the rest of this holds true. I mean, you look at all these paywall characters. Quasar, Killmonger got a uniform with the movie, but he's not going to get another one. Ghost Panther, Nadia Van Dyne, Weapon Hex, all these characters just haven't gotten uniforms and probably never will. And then you take that difference of example that I gave you with the crystal characters and you take a look. So, Carnage, Enchantress, Ironheart are like 4-year-old characters, almost 5-year-old characters. Emma Frost was introduced in March of 2018, so she's less than 2 years old, and she's already gotten 2 uniforms. Not only is she more accessible to free-to-play players, but she's very popular. So a lot of people like Emma Frost, a lot of people buy Emma Frost, even though she sucks. Not sucks, but even though she's not super meta, she's gotten 2 uniforms. Sabretooth was introduced in 2019. He got a uniform in 2019. How convenient. Another popular character, also a mutant, but you sort of get the impression that I'm giving you, right? Sabretooth was introduced at the same time as Juggernaut. Why hasn't Juggernaut gotten a uniform? My guess is more people bought Sabretooth than Juggernaut. So they're looking at the stats and they're saying, well, we can't, if we release a Juggernaut uniform, not that many people are going to buy it. Because you basically have to look at it this way. If you think about it from a player's perspective, if you don't have a character, because it costs money, you're not spending money to get that character, to unlock that character, and then they release a uniform for that character, what are you probably going to do? You're going to convince yourself, well, I don't have the character. I'm not going to, now I have 2 things to buy, right? Rather than just having one thing to buy, which was the character, now you have to buy the character and their uniform. So rather than making those 2 purchases, you decide, okay, I'm just going to use those crystals that I would have spent on their uniform, and I'll just go and buy something else. Now, there are obviously notable exceptions to this rule, and I think Marvel Future Fight devs have gotten smarter about who they put in the bio subscriptions to compensate for that. They put Namor in. Not only is he a super popular character, but he's also super strong. So it was pretty hard for players to refuse him. And then he gets a very, very cool uniform that turns him into a villain, which is something that we've been begging for a long time. And it's tied to a classic comic series with the Phoenix Force. So they're getting smarter about it. And they were probably hoping to sell more packs for Magic, for players that hadn't unlocked Magic, because I imagine people didn't get Magic. And you can put Magic side by side with Emma Frost because they were released in the same update. So think about that. It took Magic the same amount of time to get 1 uniform as it took Emma to get 2 uniforms. And they were released in the same update. The only difference being one of them costs thousands of crystals and the other one costs real money. When they came out, was Emma better than Magic? A bit, not that much. But then Emma got another uniform later that year, at the end of 2018, and then she raised in value, and suddenly she was better than Magic, and everyone forgot about Magic. But they could forget about Magic a lot more easily because it was the bio subscription, it was the exchange subscription, rather than being a crystal character. So I'm really, the more I think about it, the more that it starts to make sense. There's really only a few outliers that don't fit this rule. Like, for example, Valkyrie. I would bet that a lot of players have Valkyrie. I'm surprised that she hasn't gotten a uniform yet. I think it would be an easy way for them to cash in on 1,000 crystals. But like, there are so many characters who were just introduced as paywall, forgotten, and will probably never get a uniform. So we've already covered, well, Carnage is not forgotten, but by the devs' stance, he's forgotten. But like Enchantress, Ironheart, Quasar. I mean, is Killmonger ever going to get another uniform? Probably not. Nadia Van Dyne. Is Nadia ever going to get a uniform? Hell no. She's not even going to get her level 70. This character is gone. Okay, is Ghost going to get another uniform? Probably not. Crescent got lucky here with the stuff, but like, I don't know if Juggernaut, I hope Juggernaut gets another uniform, but I really don't know. Is Electro going to get another uniform? I doubt it. Is Kitty Pryde going to get another uniform? Or like a first uniform? Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video and sort of share this idea with you guys because I think it holds a lot of truth to it. And it's interesting to sort of maybe step back and think, maybe they're just giving a lot of these characters extra uniforms because a ton of players have them. Like, they give Sharon Rogers a uniform every year and we joke about it, but they give Sharon Rogers to new players for free. So yeah, 100% of the players playing Marvel Future Fight have Sharon Rogers. So you know, when they see she gets a new uniform, maybe they have no clue how to play the game, or they don't know, you know, they don't want to spend on other characters. They're like, okay, I guess I'm gonna upgrade Sharon Rogers' uniform. I'm gonna pay these crystals. Gonna buy this thing. Why are they giving Captain America his 10th uniform? Because everybody has Captain America, so it's an easy way to sell this uniform to the players, because they know they already have him, rather than convincing the player to unlock a character, to rank the character up, and then also buy a uniform for them. There's obviously exceptions to this as well, with characters that are just so powerful, like maybe Apocalypse or others, where it's undeniably good, but you know, it's something that you have to stop and wonder, like, why did they give Deadpool so many uniforms already? He's caught up. He's eclipsed Doctor Strange. He's caught up to Wolverine. He's way ahead of Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, he's a popular character, and everybody's got him from the Epic Quest. So I would expect to see, if this theory is true, I would expect to see more uniforms for Epic Quest characters, both the regular Epic Quest characters, the Deluxe Pack characters, which have all gotten uniforms, by the way, Psylocke, Magneto, and Invisible Woman, and more uniforms for popular characters. That kind of bums me out, because unfortunately a lot of the characters that aren't popular also suck. It's sort of like, you know, positively correlated. The more you suck in this game, the better chance you have of just being forgotten forever, which is unfortunate. And hopefully the devs maybe try to course correct. But I think it also matters that the fans and the community, i.e. us, communicate to the devs, listen, we will buy uniforms for these garbage characters that we don't have. We will unlock these characters and get their uniforms if you do a good enough job reworking these characters. That could be a whole other basket of questions and, you know, counterpoints in it. But I just wanted to make this video, point stuff out to you guys, and also to get your opinion on it. So what do you think? Do you think these paywalls have been forgotten because not enough people have them on their rosters? Hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.